And there's a couple of interesting things I don't think that people realize when they're ingesting alcohol is that it's both fat soluble and water soluble. So that means that it actually can permeate every cell of your body. And when we talk about fat soluble, we're talking about cells like the neural ganglia in your brain, right? It's coated with something called a myelin sheath, which is like a fatty substance. And so, because alcohol can permeate fat cells, it actually damages over time. There was a study done in the UK. They studied 35,000 people in sort of middle age who are drinking would be considered moderate drinkers, 1 to 2 on average. So that could mean 14 drinks on the weekend. It could mean 2 drinks a day. It could mean 7 drinks on Friday and Saturday night. But that's what we're looking at. And so across the board, there is a decline in that myelin sheath around the neural ganglia cells. So it's actually, I guess like a inflammatory way to talk about it would be say it causes brain damage. It's right. So it doesn't matter, when we talk in terms of like, I think that it's an important question to ask, is a little bit of alcohol actually good for you? Right? Because there is a lot of that messaging in mainstream media is a little bit good for you. And across the board, the answer, if we're just looking at it from a biological, scientific, the data is all showing that there is no amount that's actually good for you. People like to dress it up and say that, you know, I've heard all kinds of claims, but I feel that messaging is coming from a place of fear, coming from a place of people don't want to let go of something that brings pleasure to them. And there's this idea of rationalization and justification for some of these behaviors. And it comes out as, well, let's discredit the information. Whereas there's that whole critical line of thinking because I think people don't actually want to hear. Maybe they do. I think people in your world they probably care. Like if someone's going to be in this health space and want to practice, law of attraction and manifestation, I think they actually do care. And maybe they just don't realize, the impact alcohol is actually having on their physical body, let alone their emotional or spiritual side. It affects all of it. And I just wanted to throw in one more thing that's both physical and emotional, which is something that people don't talk a lot about, is initially when people ingest alcohol, sometimes people do it to relax. And I like to frame all these conversations around everything has a cost, right? So initially, you might be able to take that glass of wine in and initially relax. That is true. But what ends up happening is alcohol affects your hormonal circuits and your neural circuits. So, in a way that it affects your adrenal glands, and it actually raises the baseline of your cortisol, which is that stress hormone. So, it raises the baseline when you're not drinking. And so I think that's something that people might want to be aware of. It's like, oh, I just take it to relax. But what you're doing on the back end, everything has a cost, right? So you pay the price later. So it's just, pay the price if you want to. I mean, it's, do what you want to do, but it's just like, let's just do it with some awareness.